Eric, so great to see you. Thank you so much for carving out a couple minutes in your day for us. Really excited to reconnect with you. We were so thrilled to honor you with the other rookies of the year at the RIS Power Broker Dinner at the NAR NXT conference in November. It feels like yesterday, but it wasn't. We want to grill you on your secrets to success, and we want to share your success with other people who may be thinking about a career in real estate. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions. Would love just your feedback. Give us your tips and tricks. Give us your strategies. As a rookie who just knocked it out of the park in 2023, recognized as a regional rookie of the year, what are the three most important things that you focus on to stay at the top of your game?
Staying involved. Staying involved with your sphere. When you're starting real estate, you have a sphere. That's the thing that I think a lot of folks don't realize when they get into real estate is, who am I going to call on? Bump into 4 different people within the course of a year that will either be moving, they'll be selling, they'll be doing something related to real estate. That in itself is your opportunity. And it's the warmest, easiest pathway to success there is. When you're out there knocking cold on a door, that's a very different experience than when you're talking to your cousin who wants to move and they're ready to sell. It's night and day. That's the first. The second is remaining driven, but driven authentically. So whatever that means to you, that goal needs to be achieved. I think the most important aspect of that is to be your authentic self in your pursuit of that goal. And the third, and this is probably the most important, consistent. You have to be consistent day in and day out with that goal, with that intention. Because if you're not consistent, I hate to say it, but you'll be forgotten. Because everybody in America knows 12 agents. They know 12 realtors. So if you're not consistently the first realtor that they think of, they will call that other realtor. So
I love that. That's great perspective. So as the market is continuing to, it's a wild ride. You know that, you've seen that. I think that's part of what probably keeps the top people in the market. One of my colleagues often says, you're not really a realtor until you've ridden all the waves, right? 2023 delivered a lot of waves. 2024 is shaping up to do the same. So given that, what is your outlook on the market in 2024? How's it going?
I was kind of reflecting on the fact that I think as a realtor, you have a luxury that almost no other profession has. You can carve your own path. And by that, I mean, you are the only obstacle to success. And what I mean by that is that there are people that have to sell. There are people that need to buy. There are people that are growing out of their homes. There are people that want to downsize because they're tired of heating their giant home that the kids are already out of college from. And so if you keep that reality in mind, no matter the interest rate, no matter the weather, no matter the government, and who's in office, those things are still going to happen. And so you're either going to choose to be out in front and be the facilitator of those actions, or you're going to get caught up. And so I think that with 2024, what I've done is I've ignored the rate discussions entirely and pursued opportunities that I knew were real. And so what I mean by that is I knew they were real through my relationships and through, granted, I will say that 2 years in real estate has given me much more confidence than day one. For sure. So I could sit down at $1 million listing and have a great conversation and walk out within an hour with the listing paperwork that I know for sure I couldn't have done when I was just starting. But it's all about feeling the conversation and understanding where you need to listen. Really, really, really listen. And I don't mean listen to prepare for your next question. I mean listen so empathetically that when you respond and then you ask another question, it's based off of what you've just learned from your client. And that is fundamentally a truth. Good year, bad year, doesn't matter. It's always going to be the reality. And so I think that's a very important thing to look at as we go forward into 24, because it's still the same. If you're a good listener and you're in the forefront of your client and sphere's minds, you will be getting the business for sure.
Yeah, those relationship skills are universal and timeless, right?
100%.
And the ability 100%. To just serve your customers and serve your clients to the best of your ability carries you through in a pretty major way. I love that. Why do you think it's a good time to start a career in real estate?
If you're considering a career in real estate, I say it's the absolute best time, because you're not going to be fed at a fire hose pace that COVID was. When you got in at COVID, you had to hit the ground running at 900 miles an hour and do everything you can to not only win, but to survive. And now there's breathing room. There's room to really grow, to really fully understand the neighborhood, fully understand the opportunity, fully understand what your buyers may have for needs that it just wasn't there a year, 2 years ago. And so I think that's a luxury. I do. But at the same time, property values are still on the rise. And if they're on the rise, that means that you're going to have people that are excited about selling because they know where they're sitting at.
Right.
And we have technology that we've never had before. And so those things alone, I think, is why everybody should be, taking it very seriously, for sure.
What advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about it? What would you tell someone?
Align yourself with a superstar in any way you can, whether it's meeting once a week for coffee, whether it's having them as a mentor, whatever you can do to align yourself with a superstar in the geographical area that you want to penetrate. Yep. That is the absolute best thing. Now, oftentimes you're going to find, and I would challenge anybody to find someone who operates opposite to this. The superstars have an abundancy mindset. And if they have an abundancy mindset, they're not going to mind sitting down with you. They're not going to mind teaching you what they know, because they realize that there is so much out there to sell and so many people out there to help buy that it's not going to be a risk for them. You see what I'm saying? And so
yeah, totally.
I would say that was your number one key to success. And there's two reasons for it. First, you're going to get enormous value from that individual, unlike any other. You're also going to have habits that you're going to start seeing yourself form because it's their habits. And so those two things are huge.
I love that. Just sage life advice, whether in a career in real estate or not, right? Like these are all
true.
Just such pillars of being successful in any profession. But I think it's triply important in this industry where you are always networking, always building relationships, and always driving forward. So I love that. Thank you. Yep. What's a new skill or competency or approach that you're taking to try to level up in your game?
One of the things that I realized is that when I joined my agency, Portside Real Estate Group, there is a strong ownership to a give back mentality. Give back every way that you can. As the agency, we provide numerous opportunities through the year, by the quarter, where you can actually participate and take part in these giving back moments, whether it's supporting the main Audubon, whether it's supporting grieving children. There are different initiatives that we've built into our year by the quarter that are a part. So when I was looking at that, I was like, I need to do more. How can I do more? And I realized there was a space on my town's Affordable Housing Committee team. And I was like, that's where my experience should be. That's where my passions could be, because I'm giving back, but I'm also in the industry. So I have a finger on the pulse, probably better than a lot of the other folks in the room. And sure enough, I was voted on and I was voted in, and now I'm part of that. And it's huge, because it's another way for me to use my experience over the last 24 months to kind of pull it forward into value that really kind of helps two ends of the spectrum, really. The first-time home buyer, but also those folks that want to downsize that really are looking for something that they can afford on a limited budget as they're entering those later years. And it's crazy that those single floor capes are such a perfect fit for both sections.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. What a perfect example of just like using all of your powers for good. Oftentimes we separate service from your profession. It sounds like, and I've had some of the same experience in my own life, that the things that I do in my job every day are the things that also make me a great servant to my community. I love it. That's so amazing.
And when you have value to bring, it's truly through a philanthropic initiative that you're doing it too. You leave these events knowing that you had an impact on change that was truly going to have a very, very authentic, outcome, which is awesome.
Literally, by showing up and saying yes, you have something to contribute, you have something to put on the table, and ultimately you're elevating your community, and you're also elevating yourself in your profession. When we talk about work-life balance, there it is. We often think about how to make it easier and have the best of both worlds, but I think you can do it in service too, and I love that.
Oh, thank you.
So tell us, why do you love what you do?
There's never, ever in my life been a career that is a more perfectly aligned fit with who I am as a person than real estate. And I know that sounds kind of nuts, right? Like, well, you've only been in it for 2 years. How do you have this depth? Well, because I have so many years of experience inside the operating room as an artificial intelligence consultant for a startup company. So many different spaces that I've worked within that, first of all, I wouldn't go back and change anything, because I think everything I gained from that helps me be the best of what I am today. However, this is without a doubt the last place that I will be, for sure.
I love it. There's no doubt that you're going to continue to just like be a shining star and affect so many people's lives in a positive way. You're just such an inspiration, and I love your energy, and we really love that you were willing to say yes and answer some questions for us today. You're awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Rachel.